Hi everyone. I'm just setting up, so you might just want to set up my tablet, make sure that I can see you guys. It's always okay. Here we go. Okay, here we go. I want to see what you guys see so that as I go, I'm set up properly. I'm going to zoom you in and adjust. I will adjust. I kind of move things around a little bit so that, okay, I'm going to zoom out just a tad. So I'm working kind of in an angle because I noticed in the chickadee video, my hand might have been over because my camera was right on top. I think that sometimes my hand would have hidden what you guys were seeing. So today we're gonna sketch the cardinal. Am I too much in an angle? Let me just bring this down a tad. I'm going to move over a little bit. I want to make sure you guys see properly. Okay, so I've already traced my 8x10, and I'm going to put the photo just over here. And we're going to start with the branch. The branch is, if you look at the photo, it may be just the middle is here kind of, so just a little bit over the quarter. So, and you don't have to make it exactly like mine, but just try to keep a space here so that we can see the tail a little bit better. In my painting, I did not do that. I didn't leave enough of a space, so, but which is okay. It's still, it does not have to be perfect. So I'm going to come here and I'm just going to start sketching it. And depending if I want my bird kind of over here and there, this is where I'm going to start coming up for my branch. And that's the little branch. It doesn't have to be as long. And then I'm going to come here, and this is kind of bigger than the where it's the little branch. It's from a big branch going to smaller. So I'm going to make my branch bigger. As you see, it's just a sketch. And here is where I can give myself more space. And I'm just coming down. It doesn't have to be the same shape. So I'm going to see if I left myself enough space. And there's a curve there. So I'm just going to come in. And I'm going to go down, but not too skinny here. Even that little branch, you don't want it too skinny either. And here I go. And I just keep going. It doesn't have to be the same. And as you've noticed in my painting, I didn't do the little branches here because I really wanted to show you how to do this branch more realistic. So, by concentrating on this and the bird, it would take too long to do this because I would have wanted it to be as detailed because it's in front of the bird. Like it's a bit blurry, but there's still a bit of details in it. So I skipped that. And you can do whatever you want. And then the branch, there's little pieces coming out. So this is not as important as how you're gonna make it. You just want to acknowledge that it's there. And I'm not gonna put any details in my branch or anything. I really liked doing this little branch. It doesn't have to go too much to anything, to anywhere, and it's, you know, and it can be broken here. And there's that, and then there's that little piece here that is very curvy. Mine doesn't go, well, it kind of goes, yeah, to the end, and that's how I did it. And that one those are, you know, when you go in the bush and all these trees has these little grayish branches, very, very dry. Well, that's what that is. And that goes like here. This is not very, very important because when we paint it, it just gives you a guideline. And that's the piece that's broken off. This is the branch that's been broken off. And those are the little slivers of the branch that are coming out. Okay? So we're ready to sketch our bird. As you will notice, every time you sketch, your bird will be different. I've sketched it, then I painted it, and look how different it is from the original photo, which doesn't matter. It still looks like a cardinal. It still is a cardinal, so it doesn't matter. And every time you sketch it, don't try to make it the same way, because if you practice sketching, you're going to get better at sketching, and you're going to get better at seeing the shapes and all that. Me, this is what I saw, so that's what I did. Mine is a little bit taller than in the photo. Doesn't matter. You can still see that it's a cardinal. So that's what is important. So I decided that my bird was over here. And actually, I think I'm going to move it a little bit. All I wanted to have is an approximate. So now, I want to decide how tall I'm going to make my bird. So on the photo, I have an 8x10. So I think I'm going to make it, I'm going to take some chalk off, about this height. I might not follow that. It's just going to give me a guideline of, you know, the body and all that. And I'll say, like, it's a 1/4 head, 3/4 body. So if I come about here, then I'll decide, oh, do I need more space for my body? So I'm just going to start. The body is just like, it's a round shape coming down, okay? So I'm just going to come around, and this is why we're sketching, because this is all adjustable. And I'm going to come in a little bit. Now on the other side, I will make it fluffier after. I just want to get my basic shapes on. Okay, so I'm going to come in here, and there's that little wing at the shoulder right there. So I'm gonna do that. Then I'm going to slowly come in, just a tad, and then again, fluff it. And come in. Okay, this I will adjust again. You know, right now it's just to put the shape on. Okay? And then the head, we'll see if I've left enough space. So the back of the head here comes a little bit in, and then it's kind of a little semicircle, very, very light, and puffs out just a little bit outside of the body. We might have to adjust this. Actually, when I make this fluffier, the head should be okay. Okay. Now the beak is almost just a little tad down, and the beak is as white as this. Okay. So I'm just gonna come down with his beak. And what is the beak? And it has kind of a little curve here, and it goes in. Actually, it has a curve, so I'm just going to erase that. And it has a little curve here, and it goes inside the head. So now I'm going to come, and I'm going to make under his beak, like the throat area. In the throat area, I'll have these little hairs. I'm not going to do them all. It's just for a guide. And I'm gonna kind of make this not as much in. Just like that. And now the top of the head. The top of the head starts, okay, starts inside the beak. I'm just going to zoom you in a little bit. Okay. So the top of the head starts inside the beak, right there. Starts inside the beak. And so it goes, it's like a curve. There's a curve here where his forehead is. So there's that little curve, and then it goes out. And then he has his hair here. And as I go in, the hairs get shorter. And I'm going to see, oh, wow, look, this is not his forehead. So this is way in too much. This is in too much. Okay. I'm going to get that out. And, okay, that's better. This is not high enough. Okay. This is why we're doing this. Okay, and I'm gonna come and I'm gonna bring this up and bring this up and look at the difference. And gonna go, and that could even be higher. Sometimes it's just such a tiny little adjustment to make it better. You know, my sketches are not perfect off the bat. Like, okay, so now I'm going to go someplace else. Yeah, that's what happens when we do with the pencil, is that you get your hand in there and you smear your paint, your chalk, your black pencil everywhere. So it's starting not to look too bad. So what I want to do is make it rounder here. So I'm just going to come and I'm going to make it rounder. Because it sits, you know, it's starting to get cold and it's sitting like, you can see that the way he's sitting, he's resting, and the snow started falling. And okay, this here is the wing. So I'm just gonna come here, and this here I will put straighter, and I'm gonna start getting fluffier higher. And your bird's not gonna look like mine because we don't sketch the same way, and that's it. That is perfect. That is exactly what it should be like. Okay, so this here. Now what we're going to do is, once we've established this, you see how I did a little crookie? Well, that's how it actually, his beak is. So I'm going to bring this back up. This is just a guideline. And then when we do, we're going to start putting like the black areas, and I'll see if I'm okay. So I'm going to put his head. So the black area, the way he's sitting, his head is like that, but his body is in front. His body's kind of twisted that way. And so that's what we're trying to do, is show how he is sitting. There's that, here is just a little shadow. So I'm going to put this little shadow. And here his feathers are going over the branch. I kind of skipped. I thought I was going to start there, and I decided to come here. And this is where the tail is going to be. The tail is behind the bird and opened a little bit. So that's why his tail is short, is because it's behind kind of. So that's what we want to do. So maybe you didn't leave enough space here. That's fine. The tail should not be very long. And if you see, the tail starts not too far from that edge here, just about here. And it's in an angle. And it keeps going in an angle. It's not round. It's still, it gets round at the bottom here. And the other tail is just about here. So same thing here, the same angle. But here it flares out. It flares out into its tail. And I could even flare it out more. If I flare it out more, I gotta adjust here to flare it out more. And this is just, and I'm gonna flare it out more over here too. See, there's the difference. And in here will be under the tail, that little fuzzy fur there. It's almost like fur at this point. Okay? So the tail, and this here you could if you want, just go put a bit of detail so that you know where the feathers, because we're gonna come and highlight those without putting too much detail. We're just gonna put a change of color kind of thing, like I did here. I only did little lines and that's all. I didn't want too much detail in here. Okay, so that's that. And then before I get to the head, I'm gonna go put his chest kind of shadow over here. And the shadow kind of, I'm going to take that line off because my bird would have been very, very small. I wanted him bigger, and I always end up making my bird bigger. So this is the chest area. So I'm going to go, the chest area is a little bit, actually kind of a little bit in because he's twisted kind of. And I'm going to come here. Okay, because this goes on top here. Okay, we don't see his eye. I'm gonna come, so I'm moving up. So in his beak, it's like that. That's where I'm gonna start. I'm gonna start with the beak, and the beak has. I'm gonna bring this up a little bit more. The beak. Can you see that the beak, the black starts over the beak? I'm going to zoom you in so that you can see that. I'm going to zoom in, making sure that you see that. And then I'm going to zoom you back out. So do you see that the back of his head is behind the beak? There's a little bit of black there. So so the beak comes in a little bit in the head. Then it goes around. So it's giving us the impression of the top of the beak. And it's giving us a dimension. And then we go off into the head a little bit. Then the beak separation, and then we go in, and here it goes. That's why there's a curve here, because it goes from the back of the beak to the front of the beak. So it gives us another dimension. So that's what we're going to create. Okay, so I'm going to leave us zoomed in so that I can show you that. I'm just going to wait to see if I'm zoomed in, zoomed out, zoomed in. Okay, yes, I am. Okay. So the black is here. Now I'm working into that point. It might not be perfect. It might just be okay. And I'm coming in, and then I'm gonna come out in an angle. Then the color of the beak starts, the beak is over here, the color of the beak starts here. And there's that curve. So my curve is not at the right spot. So I'm just going to erase that. So I'm going to redo that. And I'm going to come in, bring it down a bit. Bring it down a bit. It starts actually curving once it's past under the throat here. So there we go. So here it's going to curve. So this is more actually, maybe not further, but it's more in front of us looking, going to the back of the beak. It is the opposite of what I said now that I'm doing it. And this goes up a little bit. So do you see now how it looks weird, but once we're painting it, it won't look that weird. It's going to look okay. And also the back of the head, if you look at this, the back of the head also comes into a semicircle here, okay? And it also goes up a little bit. So it goes up a little bit, then starts curving down, and it curves right up to here. And then we start curving out. And it goes up a little bit and comes out. This is not perfect, but that's okay. I'm figuring out where this should be. And this is too long. And I'm just going to curve it a little bit, making it a little bit more. And it kind of goes just in between these two here, that line here. And then I'm going to bring it in. And I'm coming into like a circle, and I'm shrinking as I come in, okay? Again, this is giving us a dimension. This could be bigger. And there's shadows here. Okay, what I'm going to do, so this is where you can see, oh, okay. It has like a hump here, because it's neck, the way he's sitting, he's all puffy. So the neck is also puffy. So I'm going to erase that. So that looks better. This here is just a little puff. And there's not a big, I put too much pencil here. Okay. And I want to do is just kind of shrink that. Okay. And then there's shadows. So I'm just going to, barely put, oh, I'm sorry. Now I should zoom you out. Okay. So like I was saying here, I've increased the puffiness here of his neck because he's puffy all over. So I did that, and I shrink his sa crêpe, sa tête. I don't know how you say that in English. So I shrank that, and it kind of goes in a curl. These are all things that we're gonna do after. And here, I want to put some shadows here and there just to. When you paint it, you can visualize it, that you've put shadow there. So it's going to help you know where to put your shadows. And it's also going to help us to see if, everything's in its place. And from here, he has it's like, because he's puffy, there's another kind of layer. So it's a layer of feathers on top of a layer. So we're going to come and put that little shadow here. He looked like a masked man. So we're going to come here. And that starts right here. So I'm going to bring this down a little bit so that my shadow, and it's like a circle. Okay, a circle, and it's coming straight, and right here it starts going off, so straight, and coming right into here. What I didn't do is all of the, it looks weird because there's, you know, it's not exactly in that shape, and there's shadows here. Okay, there's shadows, shadow here. So now what I'm noticing is that this here is a bit high. So I'm going to bring it down a little bit. Maybe I'm going to bring it down too much and do this. And I'll see if it's too much. Did I do too big of an adjustment? And I think not. I think it was the right move to do. Just bring back my shadow here. So just to give me an idea. Yeah, that did a big difference, just to shrink the body a little bit. And I'm just going to make him fluffier. This is okay. And here is the wing. I'm going to readjust that since I gave more weight to the head. I'm going to bring this down. I'm going to, as big as this is, as big as that feather is out, it's almost even. This is a tiny bit fluffier, and the beak is almost at the same point as this wing here. Okay, so it gives us a guideline of not to do our beak too long. So I'm just gonna come out and gonna come down here, and this wing is like that, doesn't go down like that, and it's just like in the circle, and also the upper part is also in the circle, and that's the outside wing. And I'm going to bring this down. So this tells me now that here I just need it to be just a tad longer before I come out, and I can come out even more. Look at that. It doesn't take much for your bird to be exactly what you want. So I'm just gonna, just a little bit. It's because I took out a lot of the lines. And when I come in, actually, I'm gonna come in just a little bit less. Just like that. See, there's no eye to do. That is it. And when we do it, you know, it won't be these lines like that. Just as just a guideline. It'll be like more, it'll be shadowy a little bit. And it's coming, I didn't even do my other one like that. My painting is different. This comes in an angle. The shape is a bit different than what I just drew. When I paint it, it won't even be the same thing. So what I've noticed here is that it has, its forehead here is a little bit like that here. Maybe that's what was missing in my painting in here. And actually, I'm gonna adjust it starting here, making a forehead and then coming out. Yeah, so that gave me a new perspective of the head. It's and it's even actually maybe a bit too much, but that's what it needs. So I'm just gonna come up little bit, and I'm gonna come. And the more you practice this, the easier it gets to do birds. It's all about practice. What looks weird here is just that because it's so detailed. When you paint it, it's not really like that. So that's pretty much it. And then the toe, we're gonna do his toes, because I kind of always, for some reason, I say, oh, okay, we're done, and then I look, oh my God, I didn't do the feet. So I'm gonna zoom you in for the feet, just to show you. The feet, the nails, it's very easy. I'm just gonna see, am I okay? So these are the feet. It comes, you barely see them. One is behind, this one is behind, this one is like the edge of one of the nails. This one is on top. So if we establish them right away, then when we do our painting, you know that this, you know, that's where we have to do that. So the first toe that I'm gonna do is right under the shadow here, and it's like that. It comes out, and I'll make it dark so that you can see. Okay, we don't see the nail, we just see the toe. And right beside it is another one. That one doesn't curve, so there's a little tiny curve, but it's the nail that curves, and even it comes off depending on how big your branch is. And this here, yeah, it's going to be like that, and from here it's like a hook. Okay, and under, he's got, we see like the under of the nail, kind of like that, and I'm going to make it dark so that you see it's a nail. And under here there's another part. Okay, now we're going to move on to the other side. So the other side, actually it's under the first nail, which like is the same thing, a hook in the reverse that we just did. And then we don't see the toe exactly. So this is so dark that all I'm going to do is like that here. And it's this one here. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it's the same or, you know, it doesn't matter. Okay. There will be highlights here and there, and, you know, we're gonna work our bird like that. And this is it. And also to make it look realistic when we do our bird is gonna be to add all these little, I call them hairs, because that's what to me it looks like. Il est tout échevelé, là. It's like, because he's all puffed up, they've got all these little feathers coming out everywhere. And that's what makes it look realistic, is when you add this to your painting. And you can add them wherever you want. And on this side, it seems like it's not as much. You see it? Well, it's the way, it's because we see a wing here. In the wing area, there's no feather coming out. And also on top of his head, he's got a little bit of hair here. And under his throat, a lot of hair under his throat. And the hair is like, because he's puffed up, the hair is also all puffed up. Like that. And this will all be black. this here even, I could go up a little bit. There's a shadow anyways here. And this will all be black. Might make more sense to you. Behind the beak is black. And then once we do, I'm not doing the trees in the background. I'm gonna zoom you out a little bit. Okay, so I'm not doing the background trees because that will be done when we do our background. You know, when we take a lot of paint and we do our background. And what I did after the fact is I took my my raw umber and I went in and very watery. I added some trees because it wasn't like that. I decided to do that after my bird was done and all that. I decided that I wanted more of a background. So I added the trees, which you can do or not do. But I will do it at the beginning instead of after that the bird is there. And we'll do the snow. We'll do the branch, the snow, then the bird. So this is it. I'm going to show you the paints that I use. You don't have to use this paint. I'm going to take, yeah, I can do that. So I'm going to zoom you into the paints because it's fun to be able to see the colors. So this one here is taupe red, which is a medium red. That's kind of the darkest red that I had. But we can add a bit of brown to it, maybe or a little purple to it, or even a little black to it to make it even darker. This is my highlight, which is apple red. And that's a little bit too close. I prefer maybe having it just a tad out a little bit. Okay, so see the difference? One is very light and one is much darker. And with the highlight, the apple red, I'm going to use some orange in it. That will help me to do my highlight in the bird. If we put white with red, it's going to turn pink. I don't want it to turn pink. So with the orange and the red, we're going to make a highlight. So that's the color of the birds. And of course, there's the black, the white. For the branch, I used raw umber, trail tan, and golden brown. So use the browns that you have. It does not have to be these colors. Mine are a little bit, I made my branch a little bit different. My branches never look like the paint, the actual photo most of the time. I always use what I have and what I see. You might see different than me. So from the photo, once I do the video and you guys are just watching painting after, use the colors that you have. You don't have a golden brown, use another brown. Use a lighter brown, use a dark gold, mix a brown with a yellow to make it lighter so that you get to a different color. And also, I wanted to say we need a toothbrush. Any toothbrush to do the snow, to do the little snow. And also we're going to use probably a paintbrush so that we can tap to make the big snowflakes, okay? So an old brush so that you can tap. And of course your chalk, maybe not this white pencil, but a white pencil. your brushes that I've named. If you look on my page, Paint With Me, you will see the supplies that you need. I only forgot to put a toothbrush in there. So so that is it, guys. It's if you practice doing the cardinal every day, and don't try to match your cardinal to what you've done the last time. Just keep practicing, and once we get to the painting, it's going to be easier. And it's not going to be easier for just this painting. It's going to be easier along the way for any bird, because now we're learning about shapes, we're learning about light, we're learning about shadows, and that's all painting is about: shapes and highlights and shadows. So just have fun. Don't stress yourself out. Don't put in your mind, this is a bird. Oh my God, this is a bird. Don't do that. Just take it easy. Just breathe and just enjoy it. If it doesn't look right the first time, well, hey, let it be it. And I will also, after we're done here, I'm gonna do another little video on how to correct if it really, really bothers you, so that you don't just put it away and on a shelf and just forget about it and not even put it on the wall because you really don't like your bird. So I'm going to show you a little trick, but I'm going to finish this video because this video is about the cardinal, and I'm going to use the chickadee as an example for the next video. So bye everyone. Thank you for being here, for those who are here, for those who are not. Well, when you see this, I hope you enjoy, and I hope you just practice and not be so difficult, so hard on yourself. This is not about that. It's not about perfection. It's about just having fun and create. Okay, guys. See you next time. Actually, see you shortly. And for those who are going to paint with me, I'll see you Friday at 1 o'clock for the cardinal. Bye.